according to Farm Credit Canada, farm debt in Canada has now reached record highs. Realized net farm income has dropped by $3.3 billion last year, the sharpest single drop since 2018. Now, this can be easily quantified where, on an annual basis, usually, on average, Canadian agriculture sees about a 2% growth in revenue. But over the last decade, that 2% has been reduced to 1%, leaving farmers very little margin and some difficulty absorbing that. Now, I saw an article about 2 weeks ago, many of you may have seen this, and this really raised some alarm bells with me. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business issued a warning that all of us should be paying attention to. They surveyed a number of farmers right across Canada, many of them are their members certainly, and the headline of the report was very plain. The future of Canadian agriculture is at risk. When I see that headline, I pay attention, because it's not today, and it's not theoretical. This is the feeling and the concerns within the industry itself. According to the CFIB survey, nearly 9 in 10 farmers and agri-food businesses who responded said excessive regulation is putting their future in doubt. 90% of those reported red tape is cutting into their productivity and stalling their ability to grow their business. 70% say their competitiveness is constrained by regulatory burden. Now, I don't think any of us would be surprised by the responses of some of those business owners who are certainly frustrated with an uncompetitive regulatory and tax regime here in Canada. But we are seeing the consequences of this choking Canadian agriculture production to death. The CFIB put a number on the impact that this is having on Canadian agri-food businesses. They are facing more than $50 billion annually in compliance costs when it comes to regulatory regime here in Canada. And nearly $18 billion of that $51 billion is directly attributed to red tape. But here's the stat that came out of that survey that I thought was the most concerning. Nearly 70% of the farmers who were surveyed in the CFIB report said they are recommending to their kids not to take over the family farm. That is concerning, because that is dismantling the foundation and the future of Canadian food production and food security. Certainly we are, as I said, we are one of the few countries in the world that can help address food security around the world, but we also have to ensure that we have food security right here at home. But it's very clear that agri-food businesses and farmers are the most regulated in this country. And keeping farms alive and supporting farm families and sustaining our rural communities is not a nice to have. It is imperative, and it should be a national priority. Because simply without you in this room, we do not have food security. And without food security, we do not have sovereignty. Now, there's good news. According to Stats Canada, if we can get back to that 2% growth, that's an additional $30 billion in revenue in the farmers' pockets. How do we do that? How do we reach that? How do we get back to that 2%?